Welcome to Michigan Reimagined, presented by T.A. Forsberg and Wagoner Financial. And here's your host, Chris Buck.
So many companies have philanthropic endeavors, and Maner Costerisan in mid-Michigan certainly does their part. Here to discuss how Maner functions as a successful business and how they give back is Maner Consterisan's principal, Ms. Sarah Jennings. Welcome back to the show, Sarah.
Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's been a couple of years. Glad to see you again. So tell us about Maner Costerisan as a company. What services do you provide, and who are you?
Perfect. So we are a public accounting, technology, and wealth advisory firm. We've been around for over 150 years at this point, and we recently actually just received Best of the Best CPA firms in 2024 from Inside Public Accounting. So we're super excited about that. But when I say we're a public advisory, all of the CPA firms, we have the more traditional services, accounting and outsourced, and audit, technology, tax. And we've really seen an increase in the outsourced accounting department. So we've seen a lot of organizations that just can't staff because of the talent war and everything else. They can't staff everybody they need for the finance department. So we have a lot of people that go out and they can do anything from bookkeeper to a CFO level, but you're getting the right skill set for the right tasks instead of trying to hire one person to do all of those different roles.
Right.
So we've seen a huge increase in that.
Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in that. You hear about fractional chief operating officer, fractional, but the CFO, right. It's also, obviously there's a month-to-month management of the P&L and cash in, cash out type stuff, but it can be kind of cyclical, right? So why pay this heavy payroll and try to nurture and these employees? Yeah, I get it. That makes a lot of sense to me. So what types of clients do you tend to attract? I mean, are these, because you have CPA, skills and all that stuff. So is it individuals? Is it businesses? It sounds like there's a lot more businesses than one might initially think.
Yep. We probably predominantly work with businesses. We do a lot of work with individuals, and oftentimes they're owners in those businesses or those organizations. We have a large presence in the nonprofit world, the municipal world, as well as school districts. And we've been seeing a huge increase, and this is kind of blending the services between individual and corporations is in exit planning, succession planning. What am I going to do 10 years from now? How do I transition my business? And, we've seen that not only in transitioning the dollars, transitioning the ownership, but also succession planning for key individuals. So what does that infrastructure look like so we can make sure that we don't lose all of the historical knowledge that, this generation that's getting ready to retire, they're leaving with a lot.
Right. Yeah. And we've had a number of shows talking about succession planning, and how so many businesses close because they haven't thought ahead, or they try to sell their business and have a warped sense of what the value is because the owner has all the intellectual property in their head and then they're going to leave. So that you have to have your business be automated so you can support people in that transition as well.
Definitely.
That's awesome. Yep. So now, is your headquarters in mid-Michigan?
Yes, we have a headquarters in the Lansing area. We also have an office in Grand Rapids, and realistically, we have people all over the country. We focus in Michigan, certainly, but I recently did a heat map of all of our team members, and we have a handful outside of Michigan, but they're all the way over to with Washington State, Texas. So we're global. In that global around the U.S. Right. In that respect.
And will they serve? Are they just remote people serving Michigan folks, or do you have clients that are in these other states as well?
Again, the footprint definitely predominates in the Michigan area, but we have all across the U.S. We have some outside the U.S., but most of them are in the U.S. A lot of our technology clients go all the way to the West Coast. Got
it. Okay. A little bit of a sidebar. Is that a licensing thing? I mean, because that's got to be, I think about law or people who are practicing the discipline like a CPA. A lot of those credentials are state driven. So do you need to have a Texas license and a Washington license, or is that kind of more of a macro, we can provide services anywhere in the U.S.?
It really depends on what services we're providing. Definitely on the tax and the audit side, we have to be aware of the different state by state rules, be aware of the different state taxing issues that might come into play. But from a technology, a consulting perspective, a wealth management perspective, there's no borders. And realistically now, so many, even our neighbors have turned to virtual services. We do so much more, over the internet, over Zoom, over Teams, that we don't see as many people face to face.
Makes a lot of sense. Yeah, no, that's fantastic. And you mentioned best of the best.
Yeah.
Congratulations on
Thank
that. I
you.
hadn't read that press release. That's not what today's show is technically about,
Right.
but it's always a great footnote. So talk to me a little bit about who awarded you that and what kinds of things were considered when that award was given. Give it to you.
Yeah, that is from Inside Public Accounting. So it's a national firm and that evaluates accounting firms all over the place. And we're really excited. We feel like it just shows how committed we are to our values. Our structure is built on the mission of enabling others to reach their potential. And that goes not just for our clients. Obviously, we want to make sure that our clients hit their budgets, exceed their budgets, hit their goals, and, set up their businesses for where they want to be 5-10 years from now. But it's also our team members. And that's really what we're most proud of, that our team members are empowered to hold on to their career and take it where they want to go.
And that's not the first award you've won, right? Because my memory is that you were winning awards for being a great employer.
Yes.
As opposed to the whole package of providing awesome service and getting higher accolades. Talk about that a little bit. What makes your culture as infectious and your retention as high as it is? What's the difference?
Pieces of it are, we say we have a Maner family, and I really feel that we have that Maner family. We care about our individuals. We have a lot of empathy. We care about the community, and we know that's part of our responsibility as an organization, is to give back to the community. I mentioned empowering people to take hold of their careers and really go where they want to go, not where we dictate them to go. We've seen, crossover. You start in the audit department, or you start in the tax, and back in the day, you kind of stayed in that lane for the entirety of your career. And what we really have focused on is we want you to be part of Maner's team. If something changes in your interest area or whatever that might be, we want to help you flourish in whatever that role might be. And I think that's really, people know that we're a family.
That's fantastic. Well, that's great. Well, there's another group out there that helps people feel like family, and that's the TA Forsberg real estate company. When it comes to creating the best living and working environments in the community, no one does it better than my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company. Brent Forsberg and his team create vibrant, holistic communities that inspire growth and encourage belonging. Focused on building stronger connections for people, a Forsberg project is always in tune with balancing relationships to create the optimum human experience. Since the 1950s, Forsberg has been enhancing the quality of life in the communities they serve by following the principles of regenerative growth and aligning the resources and tools available. Reach out to my friends at the Forsberg Real Estate Company by calling 517-349-9330 or check out their website at lansingrealestate.com. So you talk about giving back to the community and having that being kind of a grounding force, not only for your employees, but for the communities that you serve. Talk a little bit about why you're here today. You've got a Day of Impact coming up very soon, actually.
We do. So we have an umbrella initiative or program or value is Maner Cares. And that means we care about our people, we care about our community. And the first Thursday of every November for the last 7 years, we shut our doors and we go out and we volunteer in the community. It's really, really exciting to think about the impact we've had over the last 7 years. We give everyone the opportunity to go out. Obviously, it's time away from client work, but our clients have been so receptive to us going out in the community. And we focus not only in the greater Lansing or the greater Grand Rapids area, but it's we again, I mentioned a heat map. What does our footprint look like? So we look at where our team members and our clients live, work, and play, and that's where we focus our efforts.
Wonderful. Now, who do you partner with to kind of make that happen? I mean, does your whole, how many employees do you have, like just say here in mid-Michigan?
It's hard because so many are virtual, right? So we've got about 200 employees total.
Right.
Probably 130-ish, 130 to 150 are volunteering this year. And it's optional, which it's incredible to think that it is not mandatory, that we're telling people they have to, and people are choosing to do that. And at that magnitude. Well,
130 people could probably build an entire house in a day,
right?
If they're advised, because that's not what they're good at. But naturally, for the most part,
right? They might be good at it.
But do they go out in packs, or do they pick the project that they want to be a part of? Is there some sort of, you mentioned umbrella? Is there a bunch of people that have places for your team to show up and do the work? What kinds of things are they going to be doing?
Yeah, we've got about a dozen organizations this year that we're going out to, and people have the opportunity before we start the planning phase to submit ideas. We start with our clients. We make sure that our nonprofit clients and our municipal clients are hit, or we reach out to them to see if there's any opportunities, anything that we can do. And then we ask the team members if there's anybody else that they feel passionate about. And that really goes to a planning crew. And then we communicate and we work with the nonprofits to figure out what sort of opportunities they might have. It's a little bit difficult because we want to focus on the one day. So the weather might be an issue, whatever it might be. But again, this year we've got a dozen. We send out a survey and people can pick which ones they go to. We do place some people because we're the side benefit to this initiative or this day of impact is really that we get to build relationships with each other. I've mentioned a couple times we have so many people working remotely now. It's difficult to build those connections with the team members like we used to, walking by their desk every day. So it's really been great for the team to be able to go out. We try to get anywhere from 4 to 20 people per team to really make that impact.
So some people might be part of a group that's going to go paint, paint
a shed,
or clean up a ball field, or go work, fixing up a nonprofit's place of work, or It's those kinds of things, right?
Yep. We have some that are in the city of Lansing that are doing cleanup through the Parks and Recs organization. We have in the past gone out and volunteered for some elderly to do yard cleanup, depending on how, again, the weather works. We have some we actually have quite a few this year with the way the fall has been that are doing yard cleanup. We have some volunteering for junior achievement to go into the classroom and work with some of the students for their JA in a day. We've got some that are making packets in the greater Grand Rapids area for students and kids to take home for food packets and meal packets. We've got some that are just making packets of personal items that the End Violent Encounters group needs for their stakeholders to take home. So we've making blankets for children in the hospital. We've got really a variety of activities this year.
That's great. So that planning group kind of partners with all these people that have these needs, and then somehow you kind of publish this to your employee base, and you sign up for what your skill set is and what your interest is and where your moral compass is. Like I'm more suited to make a blanket than I am to paint a fence or paint a building because I'm not good at painting. Right. So that's great.
We have done roofing in the past, but we do joke that all accountants are not meant to hold a hammer. Some are great at it, but like you said, it just isn't everybody's highest and best use. So no,
that makes a lot of sense. So now we're recording this in early November of 2024, and you're right. You mentioned the weather, and I think Thursday's supposed to be like sunny and 55. Yeah. So perfect. I think you're in great shape for those indoors and outdoors. So there's also like the National Make a Difference Day. That I don't know. I don't think it's the exact same day, but talk to me a little bit about how that kind of folds in. Is that are you?
Yeah, that was last Saturday actually. Okay. So that we didn't intentionally align with that, but it really does help us continue to speak to the impact in the community with our team members and align all of these thoughts. We've been working hard to make sure that our day of impact isn't one day throughout the year that we give back to the community, and we work to how do we continue to ingrain this in our culture. So we have opportunities throughout the year really that align with the Make a Difference Day in November that is a nationally recognized day, and then our day of impact, and then monthly, quarterly, we always have opportunities for our team members to get together. We actually, again, looking at data is what I do. We've touched over 60 organizations throughout this last 7 years. And when you look at the team members, I mentioned this year, over 130 people are volunteering. That equates in the last 7 years to 2,500 hours just on this one day. I mean, people give back all the time, but those statistics, we're so proud of our team for doing that.
No, that makes a ton of sense to me. And you can feel good companies doing these kinds of things for the right reasons. Clearly, there's also a business sense to get, and that's why we're talking about it, right? So there's a little bit of goodwill and PR, and if people are on the fence or they're getting sick of their CPA's fees, or they're now maybe talking about wanting to do transition of their business to a new generation or whatever, and they're listening to this show. I think there is a business sense, a business reason for doing this, but clearly that's not the lead, right? It's a sincere effort in trying to go back and help our communities. Mm-hmm. That's great. Where are you going to be?
I'm going to be with Junior Achievement here in Mid-Michigan.
Fantastic. Excellent. Well, there's another group of folks out there doing great stuff. This episode is brought to you by the Michigan Rise Pre-Seed Fund, providing early stage funding in Michigan-based startups. Since 2020, Michigan Rise has helped high-tech, high-growth startup companies achieve commercial and technical milestones through capital formation strategies, talent development, and customer acquisition tactics. With financing options for every stage of the entrepreneurial journey, Michigan Rise significantly increases the impact of new ideas and research. Visit www.michiganrise.com to discover how Michigan Rise can help fuel your startup's growth. Michigan Rise is supported by the Michigan Economic Development Corporation and the Michigan State University Research Foundation. So all these folks are going to be deployed on Thursday to go knock it out, and that's great. Now, will there be other volunteers that are with them, or when the Maner team descends on this nonprofit to do their work, is it going to be that pack of folks working on that?
It's mostly Maner team.
Right.
Only Maner teams. There's a few that we're blended in that had bigger projects, and the ones that we maybe are slightly outside of our comfort zone has some guidance if there is construction or something that we have to do. But for the most part, it's just us.
That's great. And do you? Is there any way to kind of put a bow on it after it's done? Do you get to have, whether it's an email blast or some sort of an internal newsletter where maybe a captain of each of these teams out there gives a little executive summary of what they got accomplished, or you hear from the people that you partner with, like Junior Achievement or a nonprofit, where they kind of say, here's what you guys got accomplished in a day. Thanks for your time. I mean, it would be neat to, as an employee, to really kind of close the loop on what you're doing and why you're trying to do that.
We always try to capture photos because photos tell 1,000 stories, right? So we definitely do that. Bob Hoffman is actually going to come out to one of the locations on Thursday to help capture some of that enthusiasm. And we try always to get testimonials and things from the nonprofit and the stakeholders themselves. And then we compile it all into a location. And we have every other month or so, we have firm-wide virtual meetings where we get on, and it's a big Teams checkerboard of all, up to 200 people in the firm. And that gives us an opportunity to do kind of a slideshow of the visuals, let people speak to what impact they had and how it made them feel to just go out in the community. And then obviously we like to hear from the nonprofits as well. Certainly on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, we put that out there. We've had a huge outpouring from current clients just talking about the event, but also alumni, people that used to be at Maner and have since retired or had opportunities outside of accounting or wherever it might be. We've had just a lot of different connections that way.
Right. And that's the best part. And I'm so happy that you're doing all of this. Is there anything else that's going on in the Maner world that is noteworthy? Anything else that you'd like to share?
Oh gosh, there's so many things that I feel like if I mention one, I'm going to miss 10 other things. We've really been growing over the last few years, and we're focused on, again, in our mission. We're very, very focused on that mission to enable others to reach their potential. And now it's just honing in who, how, and what are we doing? So we're excited to continue to build industry verticals, really making sure that we've got the right expertise, the right alliances, the right team members to provide the best value and the best innovative thought for our clients.
Makes a ton of sense. I really love hearing all of that. So how can people follow along with your story, learn more, website, social handles, that kind of thing?
Yeah, absolutely. We've got LinkedIn, Maner Costerisan, and Facebook. Maner CPA is our website, and we are excited to be posting probably more than normal this week, actually.
Right on. Fantastic. Well, I encourage you all to follow along. We've been speaking with the principal for Maner Consterisan, Ms. Sarah Jennings. Really appreciate you sharing the stories with us, and best of luck on Thursday. Hopefully no injuries or muscles pulled or anything along those lines, but thanks for all you do for our community.
Thanks so much, Chris.
And I'd love to give a final shout out to all of my loyal sponsors, Forsberg Real Estate, Wagoner Financial, Triterra Environmental, Good Marketing, Keller Williams Advantage and Team, Michigan Rise, and the attorneys at Foster Swift. These are fantastic people worth the call. And if you found the show as a one-off, I want to remind you to follow and subscribe to Michigan Reimagined on YouTube, Facebook, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and pretty much anywhere you find your podcast. This is Chris Buck signing off for Michigan Reimagined.